Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, April 4th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Real quick, before I get to the watch list, I first want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering next week. So if you're liking what you see as I go through the video and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used, and why it's just so powerful at building consistency within trading, then definitely get signed up for that free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So definitely get signed up for that free class if you're liking what you see. Couple quick clarification points before I get to the stocks. First off, this number over here will still be changing as I talk, along with the candlestick here moving around. That's because the market's still open for a little bit of time, but I like to do these videos when the market's still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day action. So that's what's going on in regard to that. But the market's also close enough to being done where everything I talk about will still be relevant for Monday. And then I will also be using the 30-minute time frame. So for you beginners out there, that means that each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So first one here, ticker symbol AMC. Another rough day. Not terrible, but it continues to just drift lower and lower. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and really just simplify all this. And no pun intended here, but by using our simple moving averages here, I think that makes it, the most simple moving forward. So as far as areas of resistance are concerned, because the price is down below that purple line there, which on my chart denotes the 50-period moving average, that'll be that main area of resistance, currently valued up there at $26. And then as far as supports are concerned, it's up above that pink line, which is another very famous level within the world of charts, the 200-period moving average, and that's currently valued at $19.70. So in my mind, that's the big question mark moving into next week is who is ultimately going to win out? Are the bulls going to win out by being able to push up through that level of resistance, or are the bears going to win out by pushing down through that area of support? That'll be the main, kind of dynamic to watch. And again, that's what we're doing here. That's the idea of a watch list, is to find unique situations, identify certain circumstances, and then watch to see how things play out, and then potentially, construct a trade plan based around all of that. But yeah, as far as watching AMC and what catches my eye the most, definitely those two levels. Next one, NIO. Overall today, a rough day, but I'm trying to emphasize the word today because if you take a step back, then it did start to put the chart back on an overall trajectory. So yeah, disappointing for it to gap up, make a move up, and then completely go all the way back down to where it did. However, that's the key thing because where did it go back down to? Well, it put in a low right there. And when you compare this with that low from Thursday, you can see that, okay, well, if you envision those as stair-steps, there is still progress being made. So yes, today, a disappointing day, but you always got to keep in mind the flip side of that. Well, it could have been a gap down. It could have opened up here and then, gone all the way back down. So like I said, today, not the greatest day, but from, taking a step back and looking at the past few days, it's starting to build stair-steps back in the upwards direction, and that's by far what matters most. As far as areas of resistance, I think the main level to keep an eye on now moving forward after today's data, there's going to be a bunch of people that have drawn that trend line right there, given that we got that bit of data right there. So moving forward into next week, a lot of people are going to be watching that trend line right there as that main area of resistance. So keep a close eye on that. And then as far as supports are concerned, nothing really new here to report. Still got 2075 in the near term as far as what would make the chart look the best. Certainly if the price can now stay up here above $21.50. But if that falls, I wouldn't say that it's the end of the world. But things would definitely look a lot shakier if the price went down to 2075 and broke down below that. But overall, today, yeah, a rough day. But generally speaking, good to see the price start to build some stair-steps back in the upwards direction. Next one, DI, very similar to NIO in the sense of today, yeah, rough day. It gapped up that opening 30 minutes. I mean, a beautiful big green candle and then just completely gave things back. Granted, it is trending up here a little bit right there. But, today in and of itself formed this little bear flag pattern. But what's nice, though, is like AMC, like NIO, you had that set of lows there and you compare it to that low. And at least you still do have progress in the upwards direction. So yes, today, obviously could have done a whole lot better. But when you take a step back, well, at least it's much better than, again, the price gapping down here and then continuing to bleed or something like that. So moving forward, definitely what I would consider a must-hold area of support is down here at $2.70. Why is that important? And I'm not saying this will occur, but just for explanation's sake, if the price were to come down to 270 and then break down through there, what would you have at that point? You would quite literally have the price having gone right back to where it was. And not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that go back to where they were, not exactly a sign of genuine power or true strength. Again, not saying that will happen, but that's why in my mind 270 is very important. As far as levels of resistance in the near term, keep an eye on that purple line there. Again, the 50-period moving average currently valued at 290. And then that pink line up there, the 200-period moving average currently valued right up there around 307. Next one, SNDL. And overall, everything's playing out as you would expect it to. But what does make this interesting is the price right now is sitting right here at the bottom part of that pattern, which is where it was, previously the past couple of days, just sitting right here around, that area. So to give full credit or credit due, 70 cents, which I've talked about in, several past videos as an area of support, continues to hold as support. But again, because the price is essentially right there knocking on that door, it makes it a more than valid, and I would argue a wise question to at least throw out there of, okay, are the bears about to just take control and push this thing even further downwards to potentially that 200 period moving average down there at 61 cents. Again, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but at this point, it's more than, it's more than plausible. It's more than logical to start to, throw those sorts of questions out there. But that is a two-sided coin, because on the flip side, it's also plausible to think, well, I mean, this thing has bounced off this green line several times before, so maybe there's going to be a bounce up to that trend line, and who knows, maybe even potentially get a break up through it. So again, that is also a more than plausible situation, but it goes back to the whole idea behind what a watch list is in the first place. Find interesting scenarios and then watch how they play out, and then you can make your decisions based on that. But yeah, SNDL certainly has some very interesting dynamics going on right now. Next one, AMD did this analysis in the previous video and talked about how this 109 level was an area of support, but just a real life perfect example of how charts work. So this level was an area of support, but the opening 30 minutes right here, you can see the price broke down below it. So at that point, as far as, charting is concerned, that would be considered an area of resistance. So that will be our first update to convert 109 to resistance. But check it out. Price broke down below it, bounced back up. And I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Bounced literally right off that area before going back down. So again, a classic example of the power of charts, and a quick plug. Why you got to get signed up for that class. As far as that level, certainly going to be the main area, because to give credit where credit's due, nice last 30 minutes. You can see right here, good solid green candle. So can the price get up to 109? And if it can it actually get up through that level? That'll be that main near-term level of resistance. After that, the next key overarching level up there, that pink line currently valued at 114. So 109, 114 main areas of resistance. As far as supports are concerned, let's squeeze things down here to make sure that nothing obvious is being missed. But yeah, right there at about 106. Yeah, that previous breakout point right there. So 106, former area of resistance right there, acted as support. So that'll be that main area of support. So I'm also wondering, I don't know, is this thing just going to turn into some sort of sideways channel for the next week? We'll see what happens. But yeah, 109, near-term level of resistance, 106, near-term level of support. Next one, XELA, which was basically essentially a gap and trap. That's the best way I could summarize this one. I mean, the price closed right here, opened all the way up here, price ran up there, some poor souls bought right there, and then from there went down and down and down, and is essentially returned right to where it was, right? It was right at that area, and right now it's right here. So did it go exactly to where it was? Not exactly, but I think we can all agree that, generally speaking, after a big gap up, the thing went right back to where it all began. So gap and trap would be the best way to illustrate this. But again, with these sorts of situations where things can get ugly, sometimes there's opportunity in ugly. And the area that I'm very interested in and very kind of curious about is that trend line right there. Now, let me be very clear. There's no such thing as a guarantee. So I'm not saying that anything is guaranteed to happen, but is it valid? Is it plausible to think that the price could come down to that trend line, maybe find some support and get a worthwhile bounce? Yeah, that is a plausible situation to think through. By no means is, that area some sort of random thing. Is it a dart throw or anything like that? Again, to reiterate, doesn't guarantee anything, but it certainly makes it a valid thought process to have. So keep an eye on that. And then if the price does try to bounce, that main area of resistance is going to be that purple line there, 50 period right there at 43.5 cents. Next one here, TLRY, and want to get this one updated. Drew this pattern in play a few days ago, and you can see right there, ultimately did break down to the pattern, fell, tried to recover back upwards, and then ultimately today just sank back further. So first thing I'm going to do is actually just get rid of these lines here. They serve their purpose for now. And the newest level that I'm very curious about as far as supports are concerned is right down here at $7.25. That was the low from back here. So, I mean, if you think about it, had the big gap up, things were looking very, very shaky. And then that's as bad as it got before things returned back upwards. So does it do the same thing? Come back down there, things are looking shaky, and then all of a sudden recover back upwards? Maybe. If it does not, then at that point, I don't think anybody would be shocked to see the price go down there and visit that 200 period moving average down there right around $6.50. If the price does decide to recover back upwards, then main area of resistance that stands out to me, yes, you have that purple line once more, the 50 period moving average. But as far as areas of resistance that stand out. Right there at 826 would be kind of a key, almost a double whammy. When you look at it, you have the purple line, and then not that far off, you have that red line. So if anything, you could call that probably a resistance zone. But right around there is an area that I think seems to be a potential battleground point. But the most relevant and pressing matter right now is, can the price stay above 725? So we'll see what happens with that. Next one, TELL, and just an absolute monster mover when you know, all things considered. Not that long ago down here below $3, now up here 100% later above $6. But point here being is, if you like to play, you know, uptrending stocks with good solid momentum, here you go. And for those of you that like to play pullbacks, the main pullback area that, you know, catches my eye down here right around $5.90. So you could keep an eye on that. And that's just coming from the fact that this was essentially a previous breakout point right around that level. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, the level here that I'm most curious about, which seemingly has done a good job of forecasting areas of resistance, is right. In fact, if you really wanted to, there you go. You could do some sort of little upwards channel there. I'm not going to do that, but if you wanted to, I wouldn't call you crazy. Like I said, that seems to be that main area of resistance, which, as you can see, is coming from more so a little upwards channel. But if there is a bigger pullback, meaning it breaks down to the lower part of that channel that I had temporarily had in there, then right there around 590 could be very interesting. But again, overall, from the bigger picture point of view, very clearly a whole lot of upwards momentum to it. And if you like to play these sorts of situations where, you know, maybe there's a pullback in the momentum, then I definitely get this one on your watch list. Next one, LGVN, and honestly, I don't know why this one is so far back in the watch list. And now that I look at it, I mean, it's a great setup, and it's a great setup for one reason alone, and I'm going to just get all this other stuff out of here because of this line right here. So let me be very clear. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that this is some sort of great skill or a great discovery. In fact, the exact opposite. I assure you, people around the world, even beginners, have drawn that trend line. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same thing, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. So while nothing is guaranteed, my point here is it is completely valid to think that if the price were to go up to that trend line and break up through it, that break right there could create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure just because so many people are watching that and thinking about potentially playing a breakout. So keep a close eye on that. And then as far as supports are concerned, after today, a very well-established level of support down there at $13.50. I mean, you can see several times today the price was down around that area, generally speaking, and held strong. So from also a pattern perspective, if I just draw that really quickly, put the golf hole down here, that would be known as a bull pennant pattern. Next one, TSLA Tesla, and this is the one I like to try to trade every day. In fact, traded it today, one trade, and did very well on it. So what I want to do here is just get rid of a couple of these lines here because these will be the areas that I'm watching moving forward. So I'm not saying you have to agree with these levels, but this is kind of me doing an analysis and letting you be a fly in the wall. And like I said, you by all means disagree if you want. But like I said, these are just the areas that I will be watching. So as far as supports are concerned, the level here that I talked about previously definitely played a vital role today. That green line right there at 1070, price came down there, found some support, very nice bounce off of it, came back down, got somewhat close to it right there, and then got a very nice little bounce. In fact, you can see the last 30 minutes of the day right there, very solid. So nothing has changed in regards to levels of support. 1070 is definitely a level that a lot of people will be watching, myself included, longs and shorts, and everybody in between. And then as far as areas of resistance are concerned, very clearly now it's all about that 50-period moving average. You can see right here going back to Thursday, struggled with it. And then even today, check out, big bounce. And oh, what a coincidence. Right at that purple line is where it got rejected back down. So that'll be that main area of resistance in the near term. And then from the overarching standpoint, it's all about that trend line right there. So not really relevant right now, but I'm going to keep it on here just in case it does start to come into play. But those will be the main areas that I'm most curious about for Tesla on Monday. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for that free class next week. It'll be Thursday, April 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, then please let me know by doing a couple easy things. Hit the like button, leave a simple comment below, say hi, tell me a ticker symbol that you're watching for next week. Tell me something that you traded today. But those two things communicate to me that you enjoy these videos. And as long as I know people are enjoying, then I will gladly continue to put them out there. So again, hit that like button and leave a simple comment below. And ultimately, hopefully I'll see you next week. So get signed up for that class. Rudy, take care and have a good weekend.